Hello, good afternoon. While I'm doing a ton of work today, I actually have a gentleman that we're going to pre-interview for next week's show, and he's going to tell you what he's doing. And hold on, I'm going to try to add him, and we're going to surprise you right now. And hopefully we'll get everything set here, and I hope you enjoy this, as we're going to start doing more of this before the show, so you know who's going to be on and some more surprises. So let's see if he's there yet. And hello, Lumi. I talked to somebody I'm going to tell you about. Oh, he's here.
Hello.
Hi, John. How are you this morning? Afternoon.
Hello from England, UK. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Can everybody hear okay? I mean, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Awesome. So, I want to thank Charlene because she had found you. How did she find you?
It was I found her because I was quite aware of her work. So I started to contact her and tell her about my novel and things. And then I believe she started to see the good feedback that I had with regards of the novel. So then we started to interact, and then she decided that she'd read the book, and then she after reading the book, she decided that she wanted to turn it into a movie. So that's the progress.
Wow.
Yes.
What advice, tell us about your book. I'm trying to tell everybody you're going to be on the radio show soon, and you wrote a true story.
Yeah, I did. And the story should have been a romance story because it was about my parents that they run away. They run away together to be, after my mother's parents didn't approve of their relationship because they didn't approve of my father's job. He had a low-paid job at the time, and so they was kind of like, no, you're not going out with him. So they ran away together. So this romance story was meant to begin, but they moved into a haunted house.
Wow. So
then you've got a story then that's like, does true love conquer all? Or does it fall, or does it fall to disillusion, in really tough times? So they moved into the house with the intentions of settling down, starting a family. But for 2.5 years, they stayed in the house. They had to go through a lot of apparitions and, and being terrified. So my sister was born in the house, and she's now still has phenomenal sort of phantom sort of experiences. So I'm writing part two.
John, what kind of experiences did they have?
Well, see, there was a family that was killed back in 1870, and the house was built on the site that where they moved into. So they was being haunted by that particular family from 100 odd years before, and so they went for the reenactment of the murder. So you've got like they had the children. They could hear children crying. There was banging on the walls. It got really, really, as they stay there, the longer you stay there, the worse it gets. And it always seems to be the case that when you first move into any sort of haunted house or anything like that, it's a gradual progress where they reveal themselves slowly, but as they do, it gets worse and worse and worse. So,
So John, what did they do when all this was happening in the house?
Well, see, the thing is, because of the income, they couldn't move, and they had to try and learn to live with it. And this is where the story. I've got the book here, The Evil That Came to Denham.
Right.
So this is it here. So in this novel, it will tell you what they went through and how they had to deal with it, and how tough it really was for my parents to be living there. And even my sister was born in that house, and though I haven't revealed the name of the house for confidentiality purposes, I've signed the agreement. It is actually on her birth certificate. The name of the house.
Wow.
Yeah, she's actually born there, so it is actually born down there. So
is the house still around?
yes, I've had people coming saying, can I tell them where the house is, because they want to go and sleep there for the night.
Oh my God.
Yes, and I'm not allowed to tell you.
So this is about like true love lasting through a haunted house?
Yes. So that you've got laughter to tears, humor to horror. That's how it goes. You know, first of all, you got two people that are so in love and like, you know, they just think everything's gonna be beautiful, and then next thing you know, they got this horrific experiences to go through.
So how did they get? I was writing some notes. How did they get through that?
Well, they don't. In the end, they have to leave the house, and it's a common thing that a lot of people, in the end they just have to give up, pack up their things, but my parents, without trying to tell you the end of the story, but they had to just, they gave up. They had to just sort of, they end up being homeless. Yeah.
So they ended up getting out of the house. We're not going to tell the whole story because you have to buy the book, apparently.
Yeah.
Right? So all of that is in the book?
Yes, and then it goes into part 2, which I'm writing now. So there is a part 2 to the story. Well, there's 3. There's going to be 3 parts to the story.
Okay.
So I'm writing the second part now. So then you can follow on what happens, because then I come into the world it's 2 years later, and then when I was a child, I started to experience some hauntings and as well, because the spirits are somehow attached themselves to my sister, and she can actually communicate now with the spirit world.
So let me ask you, did you have a priest come in, or did you do anything with, or any type of blessing of the house?
Yes, in the story, in the novel, The Evil That Came to Denham, a priest came in, but he didn't believe it was going to work. He had no faith. He which is kind of ironic, being he was a priest, but he had no faith because somebody had tried it before, and it never worked. So he turned up and he just went through the motions rather than the faith. And he walked down this, you know, sprinkling holy water in each room, and it never worked. So it never worked. But,
wow. Well, you know, I have some friends that do a paranormal. They go into houses, and they actually have a show on that. So we have to get you on their show.
Yes.
That would be.
Yeah, I've been contacted by people like that as well. They ask me, and they say to me, like, there are a few people that say, can I take them to the house? And I'm like, I really can't take you to the house, you know.
Right. Well, is anyone living in the house now?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Now, I have to step back. You said the parents ended up going homeless after that.
Yes.
How did they get out of that after they left the house because of all this crazy paranormal stuff?
Well, in part 2, you'll find out where they end up living, because that's why it's continued, because it happened. My friend turned around and said, well, what happened to your parents after they left the house? And I thought, well, that's a good idea. I should continue the story, especially being as I experienced some of it myself. So that's when I decided to write part 2.
Okay, I got you. So, I mean, did they end up moving in with somebody, or
no, what happened was, you know, well, back they actually, well, I don't mind telling you, they actually was put onto like a mobile home site, you know, like what they call a caravan site. They moved into like a mobile home, a temporary sort of home, and then they was there for 3 years. 3 years, and then they was given a house.
Well, that would sound like it would be one of the ghost shows that they, the paranormal ghost shows or something, and find another priest or somebody else to really go in and bless that house.
Yes.
I mean, I had a grandparents that had an old farmhouse in West Dallas, Wisconsin. It was like the oldest house. It's probably not there anymore. I'm not sure. But there were some things that were going on. I remember my uncle was very afraid to go downstairs, or something had happened and he heard voices or something. And then I remember at my grandma's house, my grandmother's, and I was sleeping upstairs and I would actually hear footsteps coming up the stairs, and, but that's when I was a kid. So I remember that stuff. And I'm sure whatever they experienced was more frightful.
Well, we had it as children growing up. The first experience I had was when I woke up about 5 or 6 years old, and I saw a man on his hands and knees crawling across my bedroom floor. And because back in the day, parents, if you were scared of the dark or whatever, they used to let you sleep, then come and turn the light off. And I woke up before they came to turn the light off, and I just saw this man crawling across on his hands and knees. And so I've experienced some scary things myself, So I've experienced what it's like to have a spirit standing around you and things like that,
So has it been like in the history of the city where it's at? It's in the UK, I'm assuming, because that's where you are.
Yeah, it's in a little village called Denham, which is in Buckinghamshire, and it's housed some quite famous celebrities. You may have heard of Sir John Mills, because he's an old time actor now. So he made a lot of films. He actually lived in the village. So there's a lot of celebrities that live around that area. So it's quite a well-known village.
Wow, I know there's a lot of people watching, and they're probably saying, "What are we talking about?" We're talking about a book that is a true story about John's family. That is in Barnes and Nobles right now, and it's being made into a movie. So he's talking about it was haunted. So if anybody has a comment on this or any ideas for him or what to do, I mean, that's a paranormal. Like I said, I have some friends that have some shows like that I know for sure they would definitely feature you on, because that would be something. But anybody has a comment for John, he's in the UK. And so John, when you first started to write this book, how did you start? Did you do it yourself? Did you publish it yourself?
I decided to write it from being as it was my father that told me the story more so than anyone else. I decided to write the story from his perspective, so that the story is written as if he's told the story himself. So everything he's told me, I've put onto paper. So it's come from his eye, his angle. So it actually feels like you're reading my father's words rather than mine, because I decided that's how I should approach the story. So I've told it from my father's perspective. So
gotcha. Well, a lot of people are watching, and the reason I'm asking that, because they want to write a book, they don't know how to write a book. I have a friend I have a friend, actually, she has another show called Joy on Paper at our station on Tuesday and Thursday. So she definitely takes publishers, and she's probably watching, Patsy. So you would be great for her show as well. But from the step one that you wrote it on paper, then what was your step two?
Well, see, the thing is, when I write, I don't write like other writers write. I write away from the laptop. I don't do, and so I've never been one of these writers that come to the laptop and hope something's going to happen. I already know what's going to happen, but as soon as I switch on the laptop, I already know what's going to happen. You kind of like my story, because I've been thinking it out throughout the week and putting it all into order. And so when I come to write, I'm already sort of prepared. I've never just switched on and thought, okay, let's hope today I get inspiration. It doesn't, with me, I think away. Where I think a lot of people, when they want to write a story, they switch on the laptop and hope something will come to them. But it's not how that's because I've been hearing this story though from such a long time. I was able to work it out in my head.
Gotcha. I mean, did you self-publish it then? Did you do
No, no.
Amazon?
So what I did was after I completed the novel, the hardest part is to get published. So I tried to get published, and after about 15 rejections, I hired the secretary to help me send them off. But I knew that the story was good enough to get properly published. I knew that I didn't need to go self-publish. It was I knew it was a good novel. So between myself and the secretary that I hired, we would send them off, and I got 62 rejections.
Wow.
Yes, but you just keep. But if you really know you've got something good, you just keep going. And then on the 63rd, I got published by Austin Macaulay Publishers. And what they do, even then, it's not guaranteed. They send you a letter saying that they're holding a meeting with regards to your novel. They have found it interesting. Because I used to get publishers and agents turn around and say, great story, but you're unknown and things like this, and we're not sure if we can invest in you. And so when Austin Macaulay turned around and said that they held a meeting, and then I had to wait 4 more days. It was the longest 4 days I ever remember. And then they wrote back to me and said, can we have all your novel, the whole novel, which is part 2. So then I sent it. And then after they read it, they wrote back and said they wanted to publish it.
Well, now, did you send it like hard copy or like in a script form, typewriter, computer typewriter?
I know what you mean. No, I just sent it as attachment. I just sent it as attachment. I didn't do any PDF or anything. I just sent it as an attachment. That's what I did. I just sent it as an attachment, and they just wrote back, and like I said, they held the meeting and then said that they wanted the novel. So
well, now when somebody does that, of course, you have to copyright everything.
Yeah,
you did all of that.
Yeah, I did all that before. I joined. I had it. There's many ways you can copyright. I mean, one of the old days, what we used to do, because it's just you'd write something, seal it up, and post it to yourself.
Right.
And then you'd never open it, and it'd have a proof of stamp on it. So I did that first of all. I sent off the first 3 chapters to myself, and then I found a solicitor that would copyright it for me. They would sign and seal it, so I paid for that. It's not always it's not always cheap. If you don't, you have to try and get the least expensive one if you decide to go down that avenue. And then of course you've got your own email dates as well. And then once the publisher then takes it, it's copyrighted again by them. So I've got it copyrighted 3 times now.
That's important because a lot of people, they need to hear that as well from you. Another question I have for you, when you start to do this movie on your book, are you going to be shooting this in the UK, I'm assuming? Will you be going through the house?
Well, people that work on film, they're very good at doing identical houses and stuff, aren't they? So they can even make a film studio look like the town, can't they? So if they decided they wanted to make it in America because that's where Charlene is, they could do that, because they could just recreate the whole scene there, just on the film set, So
wow.
But if they want it to be get the real feeling of the village, and then they will have to come here and do it.
Well, let me ask a lot of people that are watching. I know I have a lot of people that are in the industry watching. Do you have a question for John about his house? Now, did you grow up in that, John?
No, I wasn't born. I wasn't born. I was born 2 years later.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. So anybody have a question about this book turning into a movie? I see that you're watching. John is from the UK. Where in the UK are you from, John?
I'm now living in Wexham, which is outside. Well, I'm actually in the middle of Slough and Uxbridge, in a place called Wexham, which is in Berkshire. So I'm actually only 10 minutes away from Denham, where the book is based.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, and so another note I had here until somebody pops in a question, and we'll read that too, John. So you're in Barnes and Nobles. How did you get in Barnes and Nobles? That is a fabulous accomplishment.
I had nothing to do with that. There was just the sales. What happened was it went out on Amazon and sold out in 4 hours.
Wow.
That's how
many copies did you sell?
I actually I don't know yet. Everyone keeps asking. Everyone thinks I'm rich now.
I know.
But I've got like I don't get any feedback for 6 months. So and then I will find out how much I sold, and if I can buy a new pair of shoes.
Well, if somebody would like to buy this book and read it and give some comments on it, I know Charlene is reading it, so we'll get her comment on the show as well about the book turning into a movie. Where can they buy the book besides Barnes and Nobles? Amazon?
Well, yeah, in the UK, it was in the bookstore called.
Oh, sorry about that. I don't know what's happening. There we go. My camera just fell down there. I'm here.
Took me back in the days of the roller coaster, and they yeah. So
I gotcha.
I had the book in W.H. Smith's, a store called W.H. Smith's, and that sold out in a day. So
wow,
they haven't.
Wow.
They sold out in one day, so they've got to restock it. It's in Waterstones is equivalent to Americans' Barnes and Noble. That's the same sort of level of bookstore.
Like Walden Bookstore.
Yeah, like you have Barnes and Noble.
Them.
You have Barnes and Noble in America. We have Waterstones. So
you're going to be doing some book signings coming up?
Yeah, I'm doing one because I did want to do a formal one. I wanted to do one where I was in touch with the people. So I'm doing one on the 16th of September. And
where will that be?
And I'm doing it at the Swan Pub in Ivor on the 16th of September at midday, which will be 12 to 1600, which is 4 p.m. So it's a family orientated place. I wanted to be more sociable, because a lot of book signings are very impersonal. I don't want people to be lined up like cattle and in one door and out the next. I didn't want that. I wanted people to be able to come and talk to me, and I want it to be more of a sociable thing as well. So I decided, I decided that my first one would not be in a bookstore. They were actually wanting me to do it in Waterstones, but I said, no, let me do it where I can still in touch with the people, and if I want it to be more sociable, and that's why I've chosen that place. It's a very family place. The children can come down. There's a massive garden there. They cater for the children at this place, so it's going to be a good family day out as well.
Wow, I'm going to definitely pass this to Joy on paper for Patsy for her show. And I just got actually 2 emails, actually one call today. We also have another young kid that wrote a book. He's 10 years old. He is an actor, model, and we'll probably have him on the same show. And I just got off the phone with a wonderful lady in St. Louis, Missouri, from Gene Anderson. Was one of the Funkadelics, and he's on his own. He tours once in a while. But he's in Las Vegas, and this little girl wrote a book as well at 10 years old about anti-bullying. So, so we've got some really great, talented people coming up I wanted to announce. And, John, it's been a pleasure. And let me ask if there's anybody that's watching that has a question for John while we're here live on Facebook from the UK. And I'm in my office, my home office today. I got the Hollywood backdrop, not the tropical backdrop. But anybody do have a question for John, I'll read it to him while you're here. This is great for my reporters to find out a little bit more about him if you're watching and you do have a question. which is great. And I know we have CJ. He's in the UK. I wanted to, like I said, did you connect with him yet?
No, you know, I've been busy over the last couple of days working on the second novel. So I'm going to do my admin with at the weekend at some point. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been meaning to contact him, but I've just been wrapped up in writing.
Gotcha. Well, I do have a question, you know, off the cuff of all of this. What does John do during the day? What is your day like? I mean, what do you do in the UK, in your town? What is your day in a life of John?
Well, now at the moment it's I go to at the moment I go to sleep and wake up thinking about the whole story. That's it, you know, and I'm putting it all together. I've done 5 chapters now, so and at the moment that's what I'm doing. I'm concentrating on this for the next couple of weeks intensively. I'm working hard on the novel because
Gotcha.
yeah.
I mean, so let me say, let's put the novel aside. So what do you do when you get out of the house? Where does John go? What are like your favorite spots?
Oh, well, I've got a son, so I'm going to be with him at this weekend. So we're going to spend the weekend together at my sister's house. I think she's watching, so hello.
Okay. Oh, hi.
Yeah, so my sister's watching. So yeah, so this weekend we're gonna he's gonna come with me. We're gonna go to spend the weekend at my sister's house, and he's gonna hang out with his cousins. So I always make time for my son, you know, and I've just bought a bicycle with as well. I'm planning on start cycling a bit, try and get a bit fitter. I'm sitting down too much.
Well, you know, hey, I got the reason. I got the solution. I have 2 bouncing ball chairs.
Oh, really?
And
well,
yeah,
I've got 2.
and I'm sitting. No, I said I have a bouncy ball chair. I'm sitting on one. This is my other one. So yeah, it makes it more interesting. You're not just sitting there. You're putting music on. You're bouncing to the.
Well, I intend to start cycling, so as well, do a bit of exercise. So
well, you know why we had you on this live feed? It's because to help you, and that's what I do.
Yes.
So I'm going to get in touch. I'm going to actually take this video feed and then upload it to YouTube, and we'll put your name on it. So if somebody's searching for you, they'll find you. And thank you to my producer. He taught me how to do that.
Brilliant.
As well as, yes, as well as Patsy's show. I want to send this over to her and the paranormal guys that are amazing. And I forgot their show off the cuff right now, but I've got their information here on my computer. I'm going to send this over to them. And I'm sure they would love to do something with you. They may want to try to go through the house. You know, I don't know. Do the owners still have any problems with ghosts?
Well, like I said, I signed a confidentiality clause, so I can never reveal it. Because I have actually spoken to them and told them, and I just said, look, this is based on this house, and they was.
Oh, wait. So wait. The people that are there now don't know anything about it?
Well, they know that I've written a novel based on the house, but I said, I just want you to know that, you know, I've agreed not to reveal the house. I've changed the name of the house because in that village there's a lot of houses that got names, you see. So you know, it might be like Sir John Mills. His house was called the Mills House. And you know,
so let me ask you one more quick question. Do the owners the new owners, have they had any problems or anything like that?
I haven't asked them. I never asked them. I just I was a bit more worried about anyone finding out. Really, I've been so worried because I didn't want their lives turned upside down, because I've seen what happens when people find out where a haunted house used to be or could be. You see,
so do you have like a picture of the house that people can get an idea? Is it like an upstairs, downstairs, a flat?
Well, I've described the house, but if I showed a picture of the house, I might as well tell them where it is.
Right. Well, can you kind of paint a picture, like when you walk into the house, kind of like give everybody a kind of a visual, like what the house was like?
Inside the book, it actually describes the layout of the house. So it does actually describe it's a 3-bedroom house, so it does actually describe inside of the house. So if anyone's ever stayed in the house, maybe they know where it is. But you know, yeah, but like I said, I'm really trying to be good to the people that are there and not have people come knocking on their door, you know, in the early hours of the morning, asking them if they can stay there for the night and things like this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Right. But you did say it. You did say this story will make you laugh or cry.
Yes, I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, it's not just your typical ghost story, because also it's got a lot of historical facts in it, because it goes back to the family in 1870. So it actually goes back to their murder. So it covers the murder of that family as well. So it goes back to the trial of the you know, of the killer that killed them back in 1870, and it covers a lot of history. So, and because it's based on true life, of course there's going to be humor, there's going to be romance, because there's two people living together, because it's not like every single day that it's going to be like terrifying, you know. Some days.
I know people are asking me. I know David just popped on and he said, "What is this about?"
Yeah.
And so John is from the UK, kind of elaborate on this. He's from the UK. He actually wrote a book about his parents. It's a true story about a haunted house that they lived in, and it's turning into a movie in the UK. And he's actually telling us where you can buy it. And I was asking him some questions about getting the house blessed. What did he do? And you can watch this show again and put repeat if you see the whole thing. And if there's any questions for John, please put them down below, and I'll try to read them to you before I go. So otherwise, John, and how much is the book for sale at Barnes & Noble?
I actually don't know how much it's going for sale over in America. Actually, I haven't looked. I do tell people, to be honest, it's the cheapest way to purchase a book is through my publisher, Austin Macaulay, because it's the cheapest way. Every other avenue you take to buy the book, you know, Amazon, Waterstones, WH Smith, Barnes & Noble, I think they add a little bit on themselves, you know. They add a bit of, they make it a bit more expensive. So it is the cheapest way to buy it from Austin Macaulay Publishers. You do have Austin Macaulay Publishers in America as well.
Wow. Yeah. Well, what John, I'd like you to do is do a little intro, you know, another little video, and I'm going to pop the other one up that you put up there as well. And I'd like to say, keep us posted what happens with you on Hollywood Connections with some of the people that I'm going to connect you to get on some other shows and talk shows. And if anybody wants to help John as well, where can they reach you? What is your Facebook, your website, everything?
Yeah, I'm quite accessible, really. My Facebook is I'm very easy to find on Facebook, because this is one of the background photos that's on my Facebook, and it's got my name. It's John Ulrich. So if you come onto Facebook, you'll definitely find me there. You know.
And you're on my friends list, so you can just add John if I didn't put it on private.
and I'm privileged to be on your friends list, I must say. You know, so yeah, social media I'm quite easy to find. You know.
Awesome. Well, what is the weather like in the UK, and what time is it by you?
The weather is typical sort of UK weather.
Oh.
But no, it's not too bad. It's actually, I think, well, speaking for myself, I'm kind of glad it's cooled down. We've had some heat over the last couple of months. It's been very hot, so we're not used to it. Well, a lot of people are not used to the heat that we've had, so we struggle with it. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, is it like Florida weather? Is it humid at all? Or?
Yeah, very. Well, the problem is in the UK we don't get no air with the heat. So when you get the heat, we struggle to breathe so well. You know, it just gets too intense. It's too humid. You know.
Wow. So, well, if you ever come on a holiday and you ever decide to come to Clearwater Beach, you're more than welcome to come to the radio station, and we have an hour with you. You know, I mean, that would be something really special as well. But in the meantime, let me help you out with some other people that have shows.
Thank
And
you.
we always trade. I got other people that say, hey, I'm going to help you, and I'll send more guests that I have on their shows. And we look forward to having you on our 106.1 FM and the 4 other stations and the VH2 TV network, the 24 flicks that we are just added to this fall, and also Life Vision Christian TV. So again, this is about ghost stories, and if you've ever had a ghost story, you have a question to ask John, you know, he's here right now live from the UK, so this is the last chance to ask him a question. John, any last words?
Well, first of all, I'm going to thank you for taking the time to give me this interview, and I definitely want to put Charlene on out in the world, because she's been absolutely tremendous, you know.
Thank you.
And yeah, so I thank you too, and I thank you both for believing in me. She really does believe in the story, you know. She told me a fabulous story the other night, that she was reading the novel and her telephone rang and she jumped. She just kind of it startled her, because she was at a, you know, but she really does really believe in what I've written, and she said that she cannot wait to adapt it into a film. So, you know, I thank her a lot for that. You know, that it's always nice when you do create work and you do find people that believe in you. You know, it's a wonderful feeling, you know. And
Exactly.
yeah, and it's people like myself that, you know, are really grateful for people like you that take the time to show interest to our work, you know. So
well, that's kind of what I wanted. As you know, I
yeah.
know there's like 5,000 on my Facebook, and once I take the link down, I put onto YouTube, I'll send you this, and I'll put your name and your book and tag it, so when people are putting it through, they can see this interview
Yes.
and say, wow, I need a good suspense book, and it's a true story. So if you ever ran into a ghost, as John said, he has, as his family has, it's pretty interesting, and we wish you much success with your movie and all that you're doing. And please keep us posted with our testimonies of what I'm going to do for you and get you connected to some other people in TV.
Yeah, I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Like I said, much appreciation to you, and you know, I thank you for today, for taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you. Well, this is what we're doing with our reporters as well. I'm trying to give them an idea before the show. I want them to do live interview, Facebook, and we're getting reporters all over the United States. And if you'd like to audition to be a reporter for me and interview fabulous people like John, you know, that are in the industry and getting their book into a movie, and we're excited about that opportunity for you. Just inbox me and watch us on Friday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. Go to tantalknetwork.com. You can see us live. Plus, John, we're buying up other hours of airtime. We're getting more reporters, so we're going to hopefully buy up all the airtime pretty soon.
Yeah, so I will say to the people though that this book is generally a good value for money, because it will take you through so many different emotions. Like I said, you know, you'll be laughing, you'll be crying, you know, you'll be hiding behind your sofa, you know. You know,
Wow.
yeah, it's just really well, because it's, like I said, it's a true story, so it's got a lot of life in there, you know.
Yeah, you know, somebody had told me, a film director the other day was doing he's doing a kind of a horror story movie, and I said, you know, I guess my kind of movies that I like to watch are like The Others. Remember, with Nicole Kidman?
I love that film. Phenomenal film. I know it so well. Yeah.
That's kind of like my genre, you know. I mean, anything else more than that, you know, I've people in the woods and running, and yeah, one of those super scary movies. I'm not into that, but you know, what you have, I think, is because I remember going through something like that when I was a kid at my grandmother's house, and you know, and I would wake up and you know, but I heard stories of an old farmhouse that they had, so you know, I know what you're saying, and I know we had someone come in and bless the house, and but interesting facts that what you're talking about would happen to your family.
Yes, and like I said, it's because it's based on a true story. You're going to get so many sort of different emotions. You know, I mean, the cover's a little bit deceiving, because it just looks like it's pure horror, doesn't it? But it's not. It's not. Yeah, but there's not, because like you know, there's humor in there. I mean, like, my sister was born in the house, so there's got to be romance in there as well. You know what I mean? I don't, you know,
Right.
just pop out. You know what I mean? So, you know, that's what I'm saying. So even though the cover was it like the evil that came to Denham is the guy that killed the family back in 1870. He's the evil that came to Denham back then. That's what it's based about. But like I said,
while you're holding that book up, did you illustrate the cover of it?
this I designed.
Is that?
Yeah.
And you designed that, the cover?
Well, yeah. What I did was I used to watch films when I was younger where you never saw the face. You remember that there would be a man sort of in the shadows, and you never saw his face, and you'd be always kind of curious about who he was. It was more suspense when you never saw the face. So that was my idea and of course, so I thought a black silhouette would be ideal, not to see the face, But see the house there. That's the original house in 1870 where he killed the family. So that's the real house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, when I was doing some research on you yesterday and writing some things down, I don't know if you saw what happened. I took a shell from the beach, right? And there was nothing inside of it. I didn't see it. It was a pretty nice little conch-sized shell. So while I'm writing some things, cleaning out my desk yesterday, getting some things ready for our interview, I want to tell you the shell started to rock back and forth. And all of a sudden I'm sitting here having my coffee and I'm looking down going, wait a second. And I'm looking at my desk and I'm seeing this shell moving and I'm holding my desk. There's nothing moving. And then all of a sudden I see this little creature crawl out with and I'm like, okay, John, I'm doing, getting my stories ready. But of course, what did I do? I took it back to the ocean and put it back in to get
That's funny. That's funny. So,
that was me doing research on you. And I'm like, okay. And then I took a video. So if you want to see it, it's on my Facebook.
I will watch it.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
See, something like that could be in a movie. Just that little bit, that little clip, you see, could be in a movie. That little scene,
Oh, trust me. Yeah, I mean, just watching this thing rock back and forth, and not knowing that there's something in it. I thought it was gone when I picked up the shell from the beach, But watching it rock back and forth for not even 5 minutes, and I couldn't see anything inside. That, especially doing research on your book, that kind of freaked me out for a minute. But anyways, well, John, it's been a pleasure, and just have a beautiful day. And I'm going to hook you up with some people and send this over to the ones that I want to hook you up with, and let them follow up with some stories on you also, and get them on their radio show.
All right, thank you, Dawn, and thank you for today. It's been lovely speaking to you. You
too. God bless.
Bye-bye.
From the UK. Yes, I'm Dawn Reese, Hollywood Connections, and John is going to be on our show really soon. Please watch us and put repeat so you know what the show is all about. And we'll see you on YouTube and all the other opportunities. I'm going to put this link on. So bye, John. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the show.
Bye.
Bye-bye.